What is up, YouTube? So today the Sparking Zero patch dropped. I haven't gotten to play it yet, work and all that, and I'm also building some other YouTube channels and trying to get those things up and running. But I want to watch this video with LotusAsakura going over the new patch to see what exactly happened. Now I know that the classic controls got fixed, and I know that there is a huge nerf, or in my opinion would be a huge nerf to Yajirobe, because it's one of the things that I wanted them to do, very specifically wanted them to do. But he's also gotten more nerfs on top of the thing that I wanted them to nerf in the first place, which was his health. So let's check out LotusAsakura's video and see what he has to say about the patch.
Sparking Zero just got even better. Let's talk about it.
Let's.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new patch that just released for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I believe this is version 1.004, and it's a step in the right direction. They definitely made some changes and some improvements that make the game better, in my opinion, but they made a couple of changes to one thing, or maybe let's just say one character in specific, that seem a bit controversial for a lot of people.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and dive in. First things first, if we jump over to Twitter, we see a couple of days ago, we got this tweet right here from the Dragon Ball Games account that said that an update patch for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was planned. It was coming around late October. They didn't specify what day. Here we are 6 days later, we have the patch. Not even a full week later, we got it, which
I was not expecting the patch to come out this soon. I legit was expecting this patch to be like to come out in like a very long time. Do I want to put my camera down here, or should I put my camera over here? Either way, I cover up some of the stuff. But basically, it's an improvement of an issue where some controls become unresponsive during online matches when classic controls are selected. I was kind of livid about this because I decided to learn the game on classic controls because I played the old games. Not that I was really good at the old games, but I played the old games, so I decided to use the classic controls. Adjustment of difficulty levels when playing certain stages in episode battle on lower difficulty settings. So this will not affect me because I'm not playing on the lower difficulty settings. So for people that are playing on the lower difficulty settings and are still having kind of a hard time with the game, because I know how it can be, especially with the computer throwing out lots of super counters and stuff like that, it can be kind of irritating. I don't know if the computer does that in the lower difficulty levels, but if they are, I would assume that's probably one of the reasons. I think that all they really have to do with the adjustment of difficulty levels with the lower difficulties is to, or excuse me, lower difficulty, because you press the trigger and it lowers the difficulty. All they have to do is just make the computer never super counter. That's it. The computer could do anything else it wants to do, because all the other things require a resource, right? Super counter doesn't, and then when the computer can just super counter you whenever it needs to, or whenever it wants to, any random time when it can just pop out super counters when it makes sense, then it just kind of gets frustrating for people who just want to play the game on a lower difficulty. So I think that's the only thing they probably needed to do for lower difficulty to make it a little bit easier. I don't know if the computer is hawking people down on lower difficulties, but maybe if that's the case, then they ease up on the aggression of the computer. But mostly, I think it's only just make the computer on lower difficulties never super counter or something. Then you have adjustment of Yajirobe stats. The other night, I was saying that he needs to have 2 health bars. And I was like, I backed up off of that a little bit, because I was like, or he needs to have 2.5 bars, because that way, if you hit him and then hit him with a super, it would bring him down to a point where if you hit him one more time, he'd die, right? He'd be like Phoenix or Marvel 3, but not straight up just die. Like if he had 2 bars of health, you hit him and then combo into a super, he would just straight up die. And then make his Senzu Bean have like some type of limit on it, right? Like where you will only be able to use it once or twice in a match, maybe only one time. But what they did was, I think they increased the amount of skills that skill bars that it takes to use it. So let's continue on. Those are the only two things that I really know about the patch, that they fixed Classic and they fixed the Yajirobe.
Obviously, it was already the middle of October when they tweeted this. We knew it was going to be coming soon. And we had a small list of some bullet points of things that they were going to change. This video I could have had up last night because I was awake at 4 a.m. Eastern when the patch went live, and I did some testing.
I was also awake
just to see what changes there were.
But I live on the West Coast.
Any patch notes or anything like that, so I was like, okay, I'll wait till I wake up the next day or later today to record this video in case there's patch notes of anything else that they changed or did. And lo and behold, there weren't really any notes to talk about. So if we take a look back at the account, you know, they talked about the patch going live. They also made this tweet right here that says the patch is not live. Also, we are aware of some remaining issues and are investigating. Character rank reset to 0. I haven't experienced this myself, but I've heard some of you guys mention it.
I don't think I have that. Even if I did,
when I'm streaming, connection errors and online matching
crazy
issues,
far into the ranks anyway, like B5 or something.
They said that they apologize to all affected players and thank you for your patience. So no real mention of any upcoming patch addressing these issues. Obviously that's implied, but it's not outright stated. You would assume that they are working on this and that they are trying to get a patch for these extra issues as soon as possible. So fingers crossed, here's hoping. Like I said, the patch that we just got, it's not huge. It's a step in the right direction, but hopefully this is a pattern of behavior that we see continued over a period of time. And honestly, for the longevity and lifespan of this game, I hope that.
Yeah, I don't understand what their thing was with saying that they would not balance the game. Like, I get that it was supposed to be a more casual game. Like, it was just a game that's supposed to be, you know, you hop into it and you can play your favorite Dragon Ball Z characters. But like when you add a ranked mode and you add, you know, ways for players to play each other online, people are going to get competitive, right? And that's a whole nother story that maybe requires a whole nother video, because there's a couple of videos I've seen out there. Two videos in particular that I've seen from people that I have in my feed. Lotus saying that this is not a competitive game, and Perfect Legend who says this is a competitive game. And it's crazy because Perfect Legend is a competitive fighting game player, and he's playing the game, so he has one view of it. And Lotus is not really he doesn't really play fighting games competitively, like, you know, go to tournaments and you know, enter tournaments, go to Evo and enter, and go to locals and all, and majors and stuff like that. He doesn't do that. Well, to my knowledge, he doesn't do that. And so, you know, he plays more casually, so he has the view that he has, and I think that's interesting. To me, I'm like a competitive player. I play things casually, but I always try to like go harder on them than a casual would go, because I've been playing fighting games competitively for a really long time. So I always get that competitive itch, and that's, you know, why I want to play ranked online and you know, try to push myself and get better at the game and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like the competitive gameplay, but then actually there are some people who are competitive fighting game players that just have the opposite view of the game, where they're like, no, this game is not competitive because it is not a regular fighting game, and it's not a traditional, you know, fighter. So it counts as like a party game because it has X, Y, and Z in it. There are broken things. There's stuff that you wouldn't find in a game. They said they're not balancing the game, so of course it's not going to be competitive. And I'm like, that's kind of cap. But we can talk about that in another video. So let's get back to this.
So we continue to see them make improvements, adjustments, and fix any issues that exist. So what are some of the things that actually got fixed in this update? Well, as soon as the patch went live, the first thing I did was actually check out Yajirobe, because they mentioned him specifically in the tweet that they made, but we'll get to that in just a moment. I also want to make note that this is the homie Balvin, by the way. He and I went online to test the controller like mechanics glitch or whatever. As he notes here, the Sparking Zero patch fixed the classic standard controller bug. Standard players can tag out, and classic users can
Is that me?
Thank God. Side note, tagging enough was way more responsive. I felt way less simple to listen pre-patch. Him getting his menu up to tag did seem a little bit more robust, maybe a little bit more snappy. That could be placebo. But what we did test and find is that, you guys know the bug that you would get sometimes where you're playing with your friends or just playing online and you're playing DP battle and you could not switch your characters? They fixed that. Honestly,
nice.
Big W.
I've never run into the bug where you can't switch your characters. Like, I've legit never run into that bug. I'm glad I never did, and I don't know if that bug was only for people on standard controls, where it was like if you're on standard, you can't switch your character sometimes, but on classic controls, we had the problem where we were locked out of one super if you're on player 2 side. That was frustrating. I assume that it was player 2 side, like, because sometimes I would be online and my controls would be fine, but they said if you're in a game where somebody's using standard and somebody is using classic, that might have been the case where your controls would be messed up, and not necessarily it didn't matter whether it was player 2 side or not. It was just if you were in a match with somebody who had standard controls and you were using classic. So basically what happened is all of my supers would be with a Y button, because I'm using like an Xbox controller. So all of my supers would have the Y next to it, but they wouldn't have a direction. So it would be my first super would be Y, my second super would be Y when it was supposed to be up in Y, and then my ultimate super my ultimate super was supposed to be down in Y when it was also just Y, but only either when I was in a game with, I guess, somebody who was on standard controls, or if I was on player 2 side. One of those two iterations, but it was, regardless of which one it was still a problem, and that needed to be fixed. And I'm glad they got it fixed so soon, because I thought this patch wasn't going to happen until like maybe a couple of weeks. Like that's what I was thinking. Maybe like a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, maybe gone by, and it would stop. Or maybe they would patch the game and it would work better. But then, some other people said that there were some things that they fixed or they seemed to have fixed that were not necessarily asked to be fixed, but like, the menu and switching feeling a little bit more, snappy and fluid, and not feeling too more clunky. So hopefully that actually is a thing. Maybe you can bring up the switch, the character switch like panel sooner when you knock somebody away or something like that. I don't know, but when I get a chance to play the game again, I'll like check on these things.
Very unfortunate the game shipped with that issue in the first place, but they got it resolved. That was one of the biggest issues I believe that the game currently had, mechanic wise or just like functionality wise. So I'm very glad to see that has been fixed. Also, you would sometimes get locked out of one of your supers. That has also been fixed as far as we can tell from our testing, which I'm very, very happy to see. If you weren't aware of what was causing this glitch in the first place, basically, if a player who was on standard played against a player who was on classic controls, you'd get locked out of like one of your supers.
Oh, so it didn't matter if he was on player 2 side or not.
Players, I think it's normally actually only one player, but that would pretty much cause it to happen.
That's kind of crazy.
I don't know, but it looks like they resolved it, so hooray. Now, let's talk about Yajirobe. In the tweet that they originally put out, mentioning that there would be some adjustments, they said there would be an adjustment to Yajirobe's stats. And an adjustment to Yajirobe's stats there were indeed. So as you can see, I put out this tweet 4:18 in the morning. It was one of the first things I checked. Yajirobe's Sensu Bean skill now costs 6 skill count instead of 5.
I thought, this is the thing I've been racking my brain on all day. I swore his Senzu Bean used to cost 4. I thought it used to cost 4 and not 5. So does it cost 6 now instead of 4? Or does it cost 5 now instead of 4? Or has it always costed 5 and I just been tripping?
Also, he now starts a match with 0 skill count instead of 2.
I also didn't know that. I did not know that he started with 2 skill bars. Does everybody start with 2 skill bars? Is that?
His health has also been reduced from 3 health bars to 2.5. You can see
that was a specific thing I asked for.
Skill. I should have actually, when I took this screenshot, I could have sworn I was hovering over Sensu Beans, but I guess I wasn't. That defeats the point of this screenshot. I'm only just now realizing. But anyway, this is a screenshot I took on my PlayStation 5 without updating the game. You can see this is, as soon as you jump into training mode, it has 2 skill count and 3 full health bars. And then this is my PC version of the game. I do have the game on both platforms now. FYI, just haven't pointed that out yet. Not important. But you see, he still has like the 3 shots.
This explains a lot. I was wondering why sometimes I would see him like at a higher like rank, and then other videos will be at a lower rank. I just assumed that I just assumed that he was just kind of like putting, you know, content out in different orders or something like that. I didn't even think about that he has the game on 2 platforms.
Box up here, but this third health bar is not full. So
I thought about getting it on PlayStation,
bars, and also his skill.
I don't think I know enough people to warrant me buying it on the second platform.
Let's talk about this. As you can see, this tweet ended up getting a lot of engagement, lots of replies, quote tweets, bookmarks even, and I didn't even look at our replies. I ended up having to mute this because obviously it gained too much traction. It was just clogging. A lot of controversy, a lot of back and forth, a lot of arguing, and a little bit of toxicity here and there. And I just, you know, I didn't want to deal with all of it, right? But let's talk about it here. Now, I would hope that we can have civil conversation about this in the comments, but I'm obviously going to speak my piece, so you feel free to speak yours as well. I am of the opinion, personally, that this was a fair, deserved, warranted nerf.
Yes.
Okay? From a logical standpoint, I don't really see how.
The reason why, before he says his part, right? The reason why I think this was fair, like 100% fair, is because literally, if you had a team that could fit Yajirobe on it, and you didn't put Yajirobe on it, you're just stupid. I was stupid. I did not want to play this character. I did not want to have to play this character. I feel like anytime in a game where it feels like you have to play a character because they're just that good and they fit well, like in a spot, it's like, well, you just got to play this character because, you know, he can heal full health. He can stall out games. He can run out the time. And, you know, he's not a no, he is great. He is a great ass character because of the fact that he has Senzu Bean that it happens fast too. Like it's not like you have to wait for the entire animation to go through. It's like once he puts that Senzu Bean in his mouth and he does this, like his arms go like halfway up, it's a wrap for you. There's probably no way you're getting over there to stop him. He's gonna put the Senzu Bean in his mouth, his arms go up, and you're done. He's got all his health back. like it probably takes him to do this, and he's got all his health back. It's so hard. Like once he knocks you away and he has the skill bars, you're done. Like now you gotta fight another character. Imagine this has happened to me before. You fight Yajirobe all the way down to less than 1 bar, right? Like less than half a bar. And then like you get knocked away, he eats a Senzu Bean. Now you have to fight another character. Imagine Yajirobe being on a character that has 5 characters, like on a team that has 5 characters on it. Now every time he eats a Senzu Bean under a bar of health, he's added another character to his team. Like he becomes the 6th character. You're supposed to be able to have 5 characters. So you add a 6th character by eating a Senzu Bean and refilling your health to full and being fresh new character ready to go. Bruh. No. It was too easy. It was too easy for him to get Senzu Bean because like you get skill meter from getting hit. So like in order to beat him, you have to give him skill gauge. And if he hits you away after you didn't give him a ton of skill gauge, he's gonna eat a Senzu Bean and you're screwed. Like it's actually kind of nuts, man.
I could be upset about this unless you're just some super ultra mega Yajirobe fanboy, which you're not. You're not.
Yeah,
let's
not.
Be real. You're not. Maybe one or two of you out there. Maybe you just think he's super funny Senzu Bean guy, and you actually really genuinely like Yajirobe. But in my experience, and in probably
so nobody wasn't gonna
experience, if you've played anything.
Yo, if Yajirobe didn't have a Senzu Bean, if he did not have the Senzu Bean, nobody would be picking his character to put him on their team, like legitimately. Like the reason why people pick a lot of the low rank characters is because you want to have a lot of good characters. Like Roshi has After Image Strike. He has unblockable supers. You have other characters that have low DP that have After Image Strike, and characters that have After Image and stuff like that. Characters like 19 and 20 that can like suck your health right? And then Yajirobe, who can heal himself all the way back up to full. Like, these low DP characters have these gimmicks to them, or these like strats to them, and you put them together on a team and they become very strong in the DP meta. So like, the only way people would be playing Yajirobe and some of these other characters if they had good abilities for people to take advantage of. If they didn't have these abilities and they weren't that strong and they didn't have these like gimmicks to them, people would not really be picking them like that, because there would be no point for them to pick these weaker without good abilities over picking a strong character like UI Goku. We didn't even go that far, but like just like base forms of fusions and on a team hit, you know, characters that have like 7 DP, 6 DP, you know what I'm saying? Like characters like that, like where you'll end up having less characters on your team, where you can have like a 6-4-4 or something like that. I guess if you have a you have like a 6, what is it, 6, 4, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You have like, and then you could throw a Hercule on there. You have a 6-4-4, you could throw a Hercule on there, or you do a 7-4-4, you know, something like that. But yeah, like nobody would be playing this character. Nobody would be playing this character if Yajirobe, if he didn't have Senzu Bean.
Past the D ranks, Yajirobe is one of, if not the most played character in ranked DP battle, because he's only 2 points and he's very, very strong. I have seen countless people who very clearly don't play the game or didn't play very much of it online or ranked talking about, oh, wow, they nerf Yajirobe, what a skill issue. Like, I can't believe y'all nerf Yajirobe, da 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 da.
That's
Those
crazy.
Replies only show me that you ain't been playing the game, because Yajirobe is rampant in this game. In the online tournaments that we've seen, in ranked DP battle, like,
yeah, if you're playing in tournament, you're most likely playing Yajirobe, or else you're trolling yourself.
Yet, but I recorded another ranked video a couple of days ago, yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, my sense of time is all off. But I recorded a ranked video, and there were a lot of Yajirobes, and the number one way I lost, and the way I even won a couple of games in that video, was due to the timer running out. Why? Because people are stalling. The most popular and common strategy right now in this game isn't to beat your opponent. It's not to deplete their health bar by actually fighting. It's stalling, running away, and constantly healing. And that strategy was far too powerful and effective in this game.
And your character heals when you switch out, on top of the fact that you got a Yajirobe in the back.
This game, to me, is not meant to be a super competitive, serious fighting game, which then...
That I don't agree with. Maybe I agree with it slightly. Maybe it was never meant to be a super serious competitive fighting game, but it doesn't matter whether it was meant to be a super serious competitive fighting game or not. It matters how the community accepts how the community sees the game. If there's a community of people that play the game as a serious competitive fighting game, or it doesn't have to be a quote unquote serious competitive fighting game, if you want to say that, but if the community sees it as a competitive fighting game and they want to run tournaments for it, and people are out there are training, and people out there are putting out tech, and people are learning things about the game that will allow them to be better than somebody else, and they go to tournaments and they want to win the tournaments, you can't really dictate whether it's meant to be a serious fighting game or not. It's either the community is going to play it as a competitive game, or it's gonna die off because they don't want to. If there is a group of people that wants to play something as a competitive fighting game, they will play it as a competitive fighting game. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what it is. I can't even think of anything that you go against another player and it wouldn't be. There's competitive pillow fighting, okay? There's competitive in-car wrestling. There's so many competitive things that were never meant to be competitive things that people are just like, oh, well, I could be good at that. I saw them doing it. I could be good at it. I think I'm better than them. I'm gonna do that thing and try to get better than them and beat them at that thing. It's now competitive. Pillow fighting is now competitive. Wrestling somebody in a car where it has rules where they're like, okay, both people start in the seats and they buckle themselves in, and then and then the buzzer goes off and they start wrestling each other inside a car. They're keeping the balloon off the floor in a living room is competitive. They have a fake living room. I've seen fake living rooms where they try to keep the balloon off the floor. It doesn't matter. If you can go against somebody else in this thing, then it's competitive. Whether it was meant to be that way or not, doesn't matter. It does not matter. Smash was never meant to be a serious competitive fighting game, but it has become that because there's a community for it. Whether the creator of Smash likes it or not and tries to stop them like they did in, I want to say, Brawl with tripping, people are still going to play it as a competitive fighting game and just be aware that tripping is a thing in that game where you will randomly just fall over and they will still play it because they want to. And if there's a community for it, it will be competitive. Like, I don't mean for this video to be turned into this about this competitive thing. But like, I can't, I'm so tired of hearing that this game is not meant to be competitive because of these things that are in the game, these broken things or these unfair things in the game. It's like, bro, you come out with a game and you're fighting against somebody and you put a ranked mode in it and people are fighting each other online. People love your game. They want to continue to play your game, but they're not having fun because of the balance of the game. And then you decide, oh, you know what? Maybe we do need to balance that character. When you said that you're never balance anything, no balancing in the game. No. If you want your product to do well, give the consumer what they want. Balance the game. If there's a overwhelming like thing that is happening with the game and people don't like it, it's like, fix it. If it's reasonable, right? If it's a reasonable fix, fix it. Fix it so people can continue loving your game. Now, after a while, it might be like, okay, well, we're not going to be, continuing to balance the game. This is going to be last patch or whatever. But like, if there's things that are wrong with your game, patch the game, balance the game. If there are things that are like a little bit unfair, or feel unfair, or there's a heavy lean toward this one thing, like this heavy lean toward Yajirobe, and the way the meta is leaning, it's like you need to be playing Yajirobe in tournament pretty much if you're going to play this game in tournament, because you need as many characters as you can, and he's a really good anchor to run the timeout, right? Like, people go and lean toward that because it's good. Nerf it because it's too heavy. Like, Yajirobe is too heavy in the meta right now. Like, if there was a bunch of different ways, if there was a bunch of different things that were meta, it's like maybe 3 to 4 or 5 different things, right? That were meta, that were like, okay, well, you play Yajirobe team or you do this other type of team, but like recovering your health is really important. So like, if I wanted to play this game in tournament, I wouldn't really be able to play characters that I like, right? I wouldn't be able to play characters that I like. I would have to play characters like, or in my opinion, I probably would play like 19, 20 Cell and Yajirobe. I think that would be like the tournament team, because we have 4 characters and all of the characters have a health regeneration skill, right? Imperfect Cell, 1920, Yajirobe. Like that, like 4 characters that can heal, and also you heal from switching out. Bro, that's a top tier ass team for DP battle.
Begs the question from people, well then why did they nerf Yajirobe? If it's not supposed to be balanced, then why do you care? Why is this a good thing? Why should I be agreeing with this? Because think about it like this, right? All players in this game fall into pretty much 2 camps. There are people who think This game shouldn't be balanced, and it should fall in line with Dragon Ball lore and canonical accuracy and everything like that, like the developers intended. That's what makes it fun.
And Yajirobe is not a broken character in the lore.
Like, no, that's stupid. The game should be balanced to some degree, whether or not they want the game to be competitive or whether they want the game to just be more fun. Like, there should be some semblance of balance, right? So whether you fall into either of those two camps, this change falls in line with that. Yajirobe is a 2 DP cost character. He is one of the cheapest characters in the game to add to your team.
Facts.
Therefore, he should be one of the weakest characters in the game. He was not. He was one of the best characters.
2 DP being the strongest character.
Is one of the absolute weakest characters in the verse. You know who some of the other DP cost characters are that are 2 in this game? Master Roshi, a Cyberman. I know it sounds kind of silly at first, but think about it seriously for a moment. A Cyberman should be a lot stronger than Yajirobe. Master Roshi should be a lot stronger than Yajirobe. They weren't. Master Roshi starts off with 2 health bars. Cyberman starts off with 2 health bars. Videl starts off with 2 health bars.
I didn't know that.
Videl should be a lot stronger than Yajirobe.
Damn, I didn't know that they all started off with 2 health bars for real.
Why did Yajirobe start off with 3 health bars in the first place?
Yeah, right.
Oh, but Yajirobe's a survivor. He's one of the kids. Like, even in Trunks' timeline, like, he survived. This is what he does. He survived. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Whether you are somebody who's judging it from a gameplay standpoint of balance for the health and the competition and fun of the game,
I agree.
Or you want to talk about Dragon Ball lore and accuracy, Yajirobe was top tier. He shouldn't be top tier. Yeah. Realistically, Yajirobe should be one of the worst characters in the game, and he absolutely wasn't.
And he can't even fly. He can't even fly, right? Like, in the game,
that Yajirobe should not be one of the weakest characters in the game.
Facts. And literally, like in the game, he's one of the characters that can't fly, and he's still one of the best characters. When he charges, he fall. Him, Master Roshi, I think Videl, Hercule, they can get up there to fight you, because it would be unfair if, like, it would be completely unfair, and they would be absolutely dog shit if, like, you went up, like, you couldn't get up there with them, like, you could just fly up and they couldn't get you. Like, that would be unfair. But when they're not fighting and they're not doing something and they're just charging, they just drop. They just drop out of the sky. Slowly, but they drop out of the sky, right? They can, I don't think Hercule can Z-Burst dash, but Yajirobe can. What? Excuse me?
And yes, maybe from a damage stance, from a damage output, he might have been a little bit on the weaker end. But that's not why you play him. You're stalling when you play him. You're not actually trying to beat your opponent, or at least that's how everybody's playing him. Beyond that, I find a lot of irony in the people who talk about, oh man, y'all cried and got what you wanted. Oh, y'all are such cry. Matter of fact, let's do it. Let's scroll through some of these replies. Let's go ahead and scroll through some of these replies. Great job, guys. You've basically killed Yajirobe. Are we gonna
Good.
Cooler next because they can regenerate some health?
Wait, Kid Buu can regenerate health?
I do find it interesting and pretty funny that Yajirobe of all characters was the only one who was specifically targeted, because I am of the belief that Yajirobe was problematic and was ruining the fun of the game online, especially in ranked. However, he's not the only one. I don't even know if he was the most problematic. Androids 19 and 20, Cell, Dr. Wheelo, those.
Bro, I don't know what Dr. Wheelo does. I think because maybe Dr. Wheelo is a large character and he's a low cost. I think he's 3 or something like that. I think. I'm not 100% sure why Dr. Wheelo is a problem. I think that's why. But like, I didn't know Kid Buu can regenerate health. Cooler, I know Metal Cooler can regenerate health, but he only regenerates 40% of his health. Now, it's still a lot, right? And I think you need 4 skilled meters to do it. But like, he's a high cost character that should be strong. Like, I think he's a 7 cost character, or 6 or 7, I believe. Because like, he might be a 7 cost character, because I was using I think 7 and 8. He might be an 8 cost character actually, and I was using Vegito as a 7. I think he might be 8. So yeah, Metal Cooler can regenerate health, but he only regenerates 40%. He doesn't regenerate 100% of his health. like 100% of his health. That's crazy. But like he can heal. He can get up there and heal. But like if I was below, like if I was below a health bar and I did his regenerate, right? I wouldn't get back all my health. I would still be like what, at like 2 health bars or something like that, right? Like I would still be around like 2 health bars, maybe a health bar, and like just under 2 health bars or something like that, right? Not have my entire health replenished from just, you know, hitting up Y, you know, or up B, excuse me, right? Like it's different. Like he's a strong character and can do a lot more. He can fly, he can do all that, and he can regenerate 40% of his health. Yajirobe had 3 health bars and could still fight people and regenerate all of his health. Not cool.
Those characters should also get some sort of changes or adjustments, in my opinion, even if it's not for the sake of like the game being balanced from a competitive standpoint, just from a fun standpoint, and from a standpoint of like what makes the most sense, like logically, and even from a Dragon Ball stance.
Like if they wanted to nerf Metal Cooler, I wouldn't be mad, like, because I don't even really use that character all that much. But if they wanted to nerf Cooler and be like, okay, well, instead of getting 40% back, you get like 40% of, because you get 40% of your total health pool back, not 40% like just a 40% of a health bar. So you get 40% of your total back. So if they were like, oh, well, we're only going to make it 30% or 25% of your total health or something like that, that you could regenerate, and it wouldn't be so much, right? But it would still cost the same. Like it would still be 4 skill meters, but you only get back 25% of your total health. Then sure. Or like 30%. So like you will only get a health bar back, right? Like you, instead of, I think he's 3 health bars. If he's 3 health bars, I would say 30 to give him, or like 33% of your health or whatever, to give him 1 health bar back. So if you were about to die, right? Like if you were about to die, you'd get 1 health bar back. Like you would have like a pixel, you would go up to a bar in a pixel. But if it's like 25%, if it's like 4 bars, if he has 4 bars health, like I forget, but if he has 4 bars health, then you get 25% back. Same effect, right?
Stronger than they should be, no matter how you look at it. Will we get those changes? Will there be more balancing updates and patches? I don't know. I hope so. But I also wouldn't be surprised if there isn't, because I just made that whole video talking about how this game isn't competitive, and that's okay. So again, you have to understand, there are changes I would like to see, but I also have a certain belief or like a perspective on what the game is and what it'll probably end up becoming. So I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself. Maybe to some of you I do sound that way, but I'm trying to make a distinction here, trying to create some sort of understanding. Regardless though, let's keep.
The other thing is that look at Xenoverse. Look at like Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse 2 had like, I don't know how alive the game was, but people played that game against each other, and I think that game was way more broken, right? Because you could like edit your characters, you could edit the stuff that your character could do, or the strength that your character had. I think something like that. I don't know too much about it, because I know they came out with new characters. I don't know if you can edit those characters, or you just have to pick those characters and play as those characters that they release as DLC. But people played as those characters, and I think those characters are probably a lot more broken, and there's probably a lot more broken stuff you could do. I don't know how their balance was in that game at all, but people played that game, right? They played it. Like everybody didn't play it, but people played that game. So them coming over to this game, and it's like, well, you might as well, man, you might as well just balance the game. You might as well just look at the community, see what the community is saying, see what the community is like upset about, mad about, and try to because you can't please everyone, but try to please as many people as you can. To be honest, like if it's something that seems fair to fix in the game, like it's like, okay, this is top heavy and it's kind of weighing down the game a little bit. Maybe we need to, you know, balance that a little bit, smooth things out a little bit, and make it better. Then y'all should do that. Like if it's going to make your product better so that people stay longer and play the game, y'all should do that.
Scrolling. This one is crazy to me. You did it. You actually made them balance the game we all asked not to be balanced before it came out. Y'all trying to make this a competitive game instead of going back to the roots when these games were simple. And just like, first of all, what did I do? I don't like, I didn't do shit. I made a whole video talking about the game is not competitive. You know what I mean? I've made several tweets talking about this as well and had people disagreeing with me. You know what I mean? I've been one of the most vocal people saying this game ain't competitive. And I've been saying it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. This isn't even about the game.
It doesn't have to be, but it doesn't have to be a competitive game. You don't have to play it as a competitive game, but people still want to play against people online and people still want to have fun. And if it's something that's just like making you not have fun, and it's like Yajirobe is not fun to fight against. And it's like despite having to play against like UI Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, at least they fight you, right? At least they fight you and you have the chance to play the defense and stuff like that, and you don't have to worry about their health bar coming all the way back. Like you just have to beat them. You just have to get rid of their health bars, right? They might be hard and it might be really strong characters, but they're supposed to be really strong characters. So when you're fighting against them, it's like, yeah, it's annoying, but you know what you're getting yourself into if you're not using those characters, fighting against those characters. And you know why people are using those characters, because they're strong and they're cool as fuck. I'm sorry. Like, I haven't used UI Goku online. I haven't used Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta online. But I've used Vegito. I've used Super Vegito. And I didn't use Super Vegito because I wanted to use After Image Strike. I didn't pick him because of After Image Strike. I picked him when the game came out because I was like, I like Vegito. Like, I think Vegito was cool. Do I like him over Gogeta? A little bit. I liked him a little bit over Gogeta because I liked his Spirit Sword thing, right? Like, I like that. It was cool. And it's just that, like, Yajirobe is not cool. He's not cool. He's not supposed to be strong. And everybody is using the character. Like, nobody want to play against that. Nobody want to sit there and like you play Rushdown all the time anyway. But like because it's a fast paced game. But to have to rush Yajirobe down and not let him get his Senzu bean off, and you're fighting him and your health is draining down, and then he gets the Senzu bean off, is like, bruh, come on, you're just dragging this out. Like, it's just like, now you have to play this game. You have to kill him, and you can't snap characters in. That's the other thing. If you could snap characters in, I don't think the Yajirobe nerf would be needed, because people will be snapping in the last character looking for Yajirobes, especially depending on what your team look like. Like, if people, because people remember what the count of the DP for characters is, right? So it's like your first character comes out, they're like, okay, that's that many points, and they beat your first character. Second character comes out, and they're like, okay, that's that many points. So he has to either have a Yajirobe in the back or two other characters, right? Or he either has two other characters or he has one other character, depending on what his first two characters are, right? So it's like, okay, I think he might have a Yajirobe in the back with four characters after the first two characters, right? It's just like playing Master Roshi and like another low DP cost character. So it's like, all right, let me snap in the last character. Oh, look, it's Yajirobe. Let me rush him down now, because now he's gonna have to try to get him out, and you snap him in again, right? Like, you snap him in again, and now he got to stay in because he got to wait for his switch meter to go down, and then you just rush him down and just don't let him eat Senzu bean, right? And I think like that would be a way to at least try to combat it, at least see what you got going for you, right? See what's happening back there in the back of their team, because you can't see people's teams.
Competitive Yajirobe was broken, and I don't even think they over nerfed him. If we scroll far enough, you probably gonna see replies from people saying like, y'all killed him, y'all ruined him, da da da. You could still play him. Oh my god, he got half less of a health bar and less skill gauge, and the skill costs more. That's not even that drastic. Do you know how fast you build skill count in this game? It's pretty damn fast. This is really not that crazy. I think it's justified.
People, and it makes it so that he can maybe only use it once in a match, like, and not twice.
Meanwhile, they're crying. They're
using it twice is crazy.
The replies. It's asinine. Instead of nerfing him, they just blasted him with a shotgun. Like, this one isn't that crazy, but like, I don't agree. I don't think they blasted him with a shotgun. Here's a reasonable reply. People that want the game to be unbalanced and true to the source material but don't want Yajirobe nerfed are hypocrites. I agree. If this game was genuinely true, Yajirobe, Cyberman, and Hercule should get one shot by any characters past the Buu arc, and frankly, they should get one shot by any character past the Sand Saga.
Dude, facts.
To be honest, Cyberman is the strongest character of those three, funnily enough, And yeah, once you get to Namek, Cyberman's getting one shot, okay? Let alone Yajirobe and Hercule. Hercule actually is the worst character in the game, in my opinion. He's not really relevant. Yeah, if you want to talk about lore accurate,
and people still put him on the team because he got an unblockable super.
Another reasonable reply. People complaining, but it's not even that harsh of a nerf. I agree. 2.5 bars is still a good amount of HP, which it is. All the other two, now, I didn't check every single one, but every single 2 cost DP character, which I did check, which was like 4 or 5, they all have 2 health bars. I think the only one I checked that this didn't apply to was Spopovich, who should have 2 health bars in my opinion, but whatever, man. And yeah, skill points are.
He probably doesn't have 2 health bars. I agree with him having more than 2 health bars, specifically because Spopovich has the Majin fucking thing on his forehead. Like he has the Majin thing, so like he has some type of buff, right? So it's like, all right, yeah, and he's a big dude. He's a big dude. And he has the Majin thing on his head. Yeah, it makes sense that he has another extra health bar, but like he's not running rampant in ranked, right? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe people are using him, but I don't think he's like an issue, because if he was an issue, he would be on everybody's team.
Rack up in battle. You know how many times I've been in a match, I blink and I have 5 skill points. I'm like, when did that happen? All the time. I don't know, it's funny, like half the community, like this is very clearly very polarizing. Half the people are like celebrating these nerfs, and the other half are like, in my opinion, extremely overreacting and like blowing this way out of proportion. I don't think these,
like, if Yajirobe came out and he was like, this is what I always say about these like nerfs and changes to characters where people like overreact about the changes of the character, right? If the character came out like that, we wouldn't have y'all wouldn't have an issue, right? The character came out and it was already like that, y'all wouldn't have an issue. But when the character gets nerfed or changed or whatever, instead of just adapting to what the change is to the character and continuing on with your day, people just complain about, oh, they nerfed this character, how could they do this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dog, if you still want to play the character, you can still do the thing with the character. It's just not going to be as easy for you to do it with the character. Like, it makes the nerf makes sense. Do y'all like just running the clock out all day, like playing the game? Like y'all just like running into having every person in the game play Yajirobe teams? Y'all like every person in the game picking Yajirobe at the end of their team because of what he can do? I don't want to see Yajirobe every single match. That's the reason why I didn't start playing singles. I started playing DP battles because I was like, oh, well, if I play singles, then I assume that everybody's just going to be playing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and UI Goku. And I was like, while I don't necessarily have a problem with that, I ain't want to start out like that. Like, I ain't want to start out seeing the same character all the time, because I was like, I'm probably going to want to use Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta at some point. I'm probably going to use UI Goku at some point. They both cool characters. It's just that everybody gonna be using them. Why do I want to play when everybody gonna be using those characters? And it's like, all right, let me play DP battles where, you know, you gotta pick other characters. And then a meta formed and Yajirobe happened. But I was playing 3 characters. I was playing Oob. I was playing who else was I playing? I was playing Oob, Vegito, and like Trunks, like Sword Trunks, right? I was playing those 3 characters, and then for a while I was like, maybe it's not worth it, because I was getting beat by a lot of people who were playing more characters, right? Or they were playing strong characters, right? And I was like, maybe I should just pick 2 characters and just be the 2 strong characters already, rather than trying to get to a good character with my 3 characters, right? But then the meta formed into play the weakest characters in the game because they got the gimmicks. And if you play the weakest characters, you can play more characters, means more health bars. And then you can play, like, you can put Yajirobe in the back and just keep healing up your health bars. And then you switch around. And I didn't know how switching worked, and I didn't know how healing your characters worked with switching until yesterday. And then yesterday they was like, oh, you can, if you if you switch your character out, there's a certain time period and you get back 1 health bar. So you get back 1 health bar, or you switch your character out, you let that character heal, you switch to another character on your team if you got like 4 characters, and then that character will heal, and then you switch to the next character, and then that third character will heal, and then you rotate it back around to the other character, and then like you keep doing that, and it feels like it's hard to get rid of all those health bars because those health bars keep coming back, right? And then maybe you heal another health bar. I don't know if this works this way, but like if you bring them in and then get them out and you never got touched, can you get back another health bar? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Nerfs are that drastic at all. Mind you, on top of that, like I made this tweet at 4 a.m, and a lot of the tweets and like quote tweets I saw were people talking about like they murdered him, he's unplayable now, blah blah
Good.
blah. You haven't.
If that's the way y'all, if that's the way y'all think, then get him out of here.
The worst characters in the game, it's fucking Yajirobe. That's how it should be. How many characters? Look at the roster. Deadass, look at the roster. How many characters on that roster is Yajirobe actually stronger than in Dragon Ball? Matter of fact, fuck that. We gonna go look at the game. I'm fucking playing. I'm so deadass. I'm so deadass. It's not even like I hate Yajirobe with all my heart. I just think this makes sense. I just think this is fair. I can't wrap my head around people who think that this is a problem. And like, I get it to some degree, this is like opinion based, but we also are basing this in some sort of fact, some sort of reality, which is why we're about to take a look at this roster. All right, so boom, let's
basing it in lore.
Ascending order, and let's go all the way down, okay? Hercule, worst character in the game, all right? 1 DP. Let's look at all the 2 DP cost characters. Is Yajirobe stronger than Chaozu?
No.
Is he stronger than a Frieza soldier? No. Guldo? Absolutely not. Roshi? No. A Cyberman? No. Spopovich? Maybe. Arguable? Debatable. Videl? Same. Like I'm taking Videl.
But Spopovich with with Majin, with a Majin boost, man.
Spopovich over Yajirobe. Who knows? Bobbity, Bert. Like okay. Like
maybe Bobbity.
Realistically, Yajirobe should be at best the 3rd worst character in the game. At best. Okay, he was very far from that. It's not about an anti-Yajirobe campaign specifically, but it's like from a competitive standpoint, yeah, that shit was way too strong. From a Dragon Ball standpoint, Yajirobe was way too strong. So which one do you want? You want the game to be balanced around competition, or you want it to be based around like the lore of Dragon Ball? Because either way, this makes sense.
It's so facts.
You know why you're
That's
upset about
so
this?
facts,
You're a
bro.
loser who was using stall tactics, and this was way too easy to do. Instead of actually engaging with the game and playing it, learning how to beat your opponent, you use Senzu Bean because it was easy to do. And I don't know if you've tried it yet. It's probably still not that hard to do. It's gonna take a little bit longer to do now, okay? You might not be able to do it 4 times in one match like you could before because your build still counts so fast in this game.
Oh my God.
But as many people as I did,
4
about, oh my
times.
God, he's unplayable. Oh my God, they ruined him. They murdered him. Since when did Yajirobe have so many fanboys? Since
Right.
when?
Since he was allowing people to get wins, man. When you take away somebody's ability to win because they're like, oh, I get on the game, I'm having so much fun because Yajirobe is broken. Like they don't even say Yajirobe is broken. Yajirobe is so good, and they think that, oh, I discovered this and I play Yajirobe. I'm a Yajirobe main because he's so good and because he got Senzu Bean, he can just heal all his health back up. That joint crazy, yo. I'll be trashing people online with Yajirobe, and it's like, yeah, but are you getting better at the game? Are you good? Are you good at the game? Or are you just winning because of Yajirobe? Because if something gets nerfed in a game and it hits you so hard that you can't win anymore, then bro, like I don't think it was a nerf that made you not I don't like or the nerf just what you call it? The nerf just exposes your skill issue. It's like, oh, you were beating people that you weren't supposed to beat because you were just Senzu beaning them to death. Like you were Senzu beaning the clock to death, and not actually you're not actually fighting your opponent. You're just fighting the clock. That's it. Like you weren't really trying to fight them. You were just fighting the clock. The clock is going to have the same amount of time on it all the time. The clock's the same difficulty to beat all of the time. You're just going to beat the clock instead of beating your opponent. So if you was a real Yajirobe main, it wouldn't be an issue. If you was actually good at the game and your defense was on point, this won't matter to you. I mean, it'll matter, but like it'll nerf you just a little bit. Like you just won't be able to do it as many times. Like if you were getting off 3 Senzu beans in a match, you're probably not doing that anymore. You'll definitely get off a Senzu bean, and it usually only takes 1. It usually only takes one Senzu bean to like break someone because it's like, oh, you were down like low health, Senzu bean. Now maybe you put Yajirobe in the front. Maybe you put Yajirobe in the front, and if you're good at the game, you try to beat one character with Yajirobe, heal up, and then do as much damage as you can to the next character. And then if you can beat another character, heal up, or switch him out, let him heal up a bar, right? Bring him back in, and then eat a Senzu bean. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little bit more strategy to go into it when you're using Yajirobe now than just putting them in the back and just letting them eat Senzu beans all day. Like, come on, bro.
Since when? Since when? Since October 7th, when this game came out in early access. That's when. October 7th, 2024. That's when everybody became a Yajirobe fan. Or I guess the 10th or 11th, if you want to talk about when everybody else got their hands on the game. Y'all don't like Yajirobe? You liked winning. Be real. Be so real. Be so for real. And honestly, saying Yajirobe should be the third worst character in the game is being generous. I give you Yajirobe over Hercule. That's really it. Every other character on the roster should be a lot stronger than Yajirobe. If we keeping it a thou wow. Here's a quote tweet from Easter Hands. I actually like this. This game is supposed to be unbalanced. Yeah, bro, when we said that, we meant Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is supposed to be busted, not some cornball shit like Yajirobe being top tier because he can cheese. Now, I think the fusions and UI Goku, Vegito Aftermath Strike, like, do I think some of that stuff could stand to be touched? Sure. Simultaneously, it's a Dragon Ball game. They should be some of the strongest characters. It is what it is. Like, I do think Yajirobe being as good as he was is more problematic than UI Goku or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta being as strong as they are, because they should be strong. And I think there'd be a lot of outrage if they weren't. You know how many Dragon Ball fans be like, how you make Gogeta not top tier? How is UI Goku so weak? I've seen it in DBFZ when they nerfed UI Goku. People are like, but it's UI Goku. He's supposed to be top tier. Like, we can't have anything.
I mean, that is true. So much that is facts. What did they do to UI Goku that he's not top tier anymore? What did they do to him?
But you geeks whose egos revolve entirely.
Because I probably would still play the character. Because even though he's not top tier,
ruin the fun that
he's probably still good,
balanced or competitive. Also, this right here, I get there's. I feel like the vocal minority, and I don't even know if it's a minority. It really feels like it's like 50-50. But I feel like the people who are like, let me not insult people's intelligence. I feel like the people who disagree or just have a different like opinion or way of thinking or whatever, right? It's so mind blowing to me that tweets like this are like so refreshing. Am I the only one who thought the game will be unbalanced meant the canonically strong characters will be better than the canonically weak characters, and not just a refusal to buff/nerf characters? No, you're not. But I definitely understand where you're coming from.
It makes sense.
I feel that way too. When they said the game would be unbalanced, which, by the way, at this point, I need to go back and find their exact words, because I don't know if they said bar for bar, the game will be unbalanced.
No, I think that what they said was, if I remember correctly, I think what they said was that they would not balance. There would not be balancing the game, right? So, like, it wouldn't that the game would be unbalanced because, and the characters, based on, like, the character strengths would be where they were supposed to be. But, like, they just were like, we're not balancing the game because I think they just didn't intend for it to be, right? Like he said earlier, they didn't intend for it to be a competitive like tournament game or whatever. But like I said, it doesn't matter what they wanted it to be. The community will, if the game is fun and the people like playing the game and you fight each other in the game and you give people a way to fight each other offline and online, the community will run tournaments for it. Now, if they run tournaments at majors, or if they run tournaments they will run tournaments at locals. No question about it. They will run tournaments at locals. But will they run tournaments at majors? Who knows? Will they run tournaments at Evo? Probably not. I would think that they would. Like, it's not gonna be a Evo main game. Will it be somewhere at Evo where will people gather together to play Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at Evo somewhere? Yes, they will. It will 1,000% be at Evo somewhere. But will it be a main game that they announce for Evo? Most likely not.
balance. But they definitely did say something to the effect of canonically strong characters will be stronger. So Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta should be a lot better than Yajirobe or Master Roshi. 99% of characters on the roster, to be honest. They didn't say that, like, we're not going to make balance changes, that we're not going to make updates. Now, with that being said, because they don't have this game, you know, in mind as a super competitive, super serious fighting game, what I expect from them in terms of updates is like very minimal. I don't expect it to be balanced the same way that you would do like a Tekken or a Street Fighter or whatever. But I never believe that's like, oh, we're just not gonna make any changes ever. The game ships how it ships, and however broken and fucked up it is how it's going to remain.
I didn't believe that either.
And I don't know why people interpreted it that way. That's not what it's not what they said. So shout out Mad Miko, because sensible tweet. Not too many of those. Damn crybabies, man. Sure.
What? Okay. Crybabies. Crybaby. People love to try to like make you feel small. Like it's they've always done it, like probably in every generation, but like this generation is, yo, I'm gonna call people little bro. You say people are crying all the time. It's like, won't you stop crying about it? You know, skill issue. And it's just like, bro, we just want the game to be good. If you don't balance the game and you let the game just fester in whatever this Yajirobe meta is, the game will die. Like, because you need the casual players and you need like the people who are playing the game, like the people who enjoy playing the game, to continue playing the game. If you let this Yajirobe meta run rampant and don't do something about it, then people will just be like, yo, I'm tired of playing this game. I'm not playing this no more. Because like I don't know if I would, either they're not gonna play online anymore and they'll just play offline, or they'll just play, you know, probably like custom battles or something like that. Like the competitive, like not the competitive, but the casual players and stuff like that. They'll just like not play online anymore. But like even like people who are like competitive like players or just want to play the game for fun online, it's not gonna be fun to play online, because like you're literally just gonna be like, you're just gonna be playing Yajirobes all day. And if you don't pick Yajirobe, you don't pick a Yajirobe team, then you're most likely going to lose, or you're just gonna have to deal with timer scams all day. It's just not a fun thing to do. It's like I said, I'd rather fight UI Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta all day, because at least I'm pressing buttons and I'm trying to, you know, get better at defense, because they fast and they strong, right? Like Yajirobe, I'm losing the Yajirobe all the time because I gotta chase dude around and stop him from eating a senzu bean. What? That's not fun.
For a bunch of loser nerds who have never touched a Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game to patch this shit to the ground so it's fair and balanced. I'd genuinely be surprised if these dorks try a vegetable without getting a patch note first. Only niggas celebrating this are Fusion and Giant players only. Why the fuck y'all balancing anything? Like, you can't win for losing. You're never gonna make everybody happy.
Fusion and Giant players. I'm a Fusion player, right? Technically, because I play Vegito, right? But like, I'm not like, oh, even if I wasn't playing Vegito, who doesn't want to play a Fusion? Like, y'all, you just wanted to play Yajirobe? Like that's the only character you had in mind to play when you bought the game? Is, oh man, I can't wait to play Yajirobe. I can't wait. He's such a cool guy. He's such a cool character. No, like, there's nobody that said that. No one said that. Please let me know if you know someone who said that.
It seems to me like the mindset that a lot of people have has been like corrupted by the idea that like, oh, the game's gonna be imbalanced. But like, it's like my homie, what was his name, Mad Mikos, like he said earlier. It's like, it's not, when they said that the game wasn't going to be like super balanced, it didn't mean that they're not going to try to make it fair to some degree, or at least like accurate to the lore. Like, Yajirobe being good's not accurate to the lore. Him having a senzu bean, that makes sense. Him being able to use it.
Yeah, if they took away senzu bean, that would have been crazy. That would have been like, all right, y'all went too far.
Senzu beans play a role. The senzu beans are always running out. The one time we saw a ton of senzu beans was the first time we ever saw them, and Yajirobe ate like handfuls of them hoes. Ever since then, senzu beans are always actually pretty scarce. Yajirobe would never in his life get to eat 4 or 5 of them bitches in one arc, in one episode, in one fight. You know, I just,
5
the idea that the game should not balance anything at all is completely and utterly asinine, in my opinion. Even if we're not trying to make the game competitive, that shit is not fun. Okay? Beyond that, it doesn't make sense to treat the game that way. If you're trying to make it so that the game is fun and reflects the series, these changes make nothing but sense. And I would expect that future changes that they make are probably going to fall in line with that. If it doesn't, I'll be surprised, and it is what it is. Whatever direction they take this game in will be interesting to say the least, but this is not worth outrage. It is not.
It definitely is not.
We have so many Yajirobe defenders with this right now. Like, obviously this tweet gained so much attention and like got so many replies and quote tweets that we could scroll here all day and just talk about this, but I think at some point enough is enough. You get the point, you get the idea.
Yeah.
They fixed the bug where you can't tag your characters and you can't use your supers. Hopefully the game is running a little bit better for other people. I don't have the game on Xbox, so when it comes to any of the Xbox related issues, I can't speak on that. You guys let me know in the comments down below. And they nerfed Yajirobe in a way that I don't think is really that egregious. But I guess
you're still gonna be able to do Senzu being at least
despite
once.
The fact that they haven't actually tried playing him since then. They just assumed that he's just now garbage, which it's Yajirobe. He should be garbage anyway, but whatever. Time will tell how much Yajirobe we see moving forward, and also what direction they want to take the game in and what types of updates they make. We don't have any sort of timetable or like vague release date for future patches or updates for the game, but I think this was a good one. I only see good things here personally. That's how I feel. I'm sure a bunch of you will disagree. I won't. Hit this video with a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content that I bring you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all I have for today. And remember, nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Later.
All right, man. That was a good video. Yeah, like I think this patch was good. I've not really been expecting them to do any other like patches. Like I don't if I notice something, then I feel like it probably should be patched. But like usually there's nothing too egregious like in this game other than Yajirobe being the way he is and the controller bug. Like the controller bug needed to be fixed, and Yajirobe also needed to be adjusted. Like otherwise, like that's it. That's it. There's nothing else. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh man, they should nerf Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. They should nerf UI Goku. They're too strong. They're supposed to be too strong, right? Like I can't complain about that in this game. Like that's what this game is supposed to be. Like they're supposed to be that strong. Like even though people still use Master Roshi and like will still beat my characters with Master Roshi, and even though I'm playing a fusion or something, you know, but I'm only playing 2 characters. When I'm playing a fusion, I'm only playing 2 characters usually, or 3 characters, depending on what my team comp is, right? But like, bro, it's insane. Like it's insane that people are defending Yajirobe being nerfed, or excuse me, defending the fact that like he shouldn't have been nerfed or whatever. Like he definitely should be nerfed. Anyway, that was a good video. I'm gonna get out of here. Video is long enough. I had a lot of stuff to say. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you like the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.